sent me a message.
Alexandra Eala just survived a 3-hour, 20-minute war against Laura Siegemund, and the controversy that followed had absolutely nothing to do with the final score.
There's to be no escape act in the second set for Laura Siegemund. Terrific point.
Because what this win actually exposed was a collision between three very different forces: tactical gamesmanship meant to break a young champion's momentum, a private message from her mentor that became one of tennis's most misrepresented stories, and a digital machine that has quietly turned a Filipino national icon into a character she'd barely recognize. March 19th, 2026, Miami Open, and Alexandra Eala walked onto that court in a completely different position than she'd ever been in before. Not the wild card, not the feel-good underdog story the world fell in love with in 2025. She was the number 31 seed now, a player with a ranking to protect and opponents who'd had a full year to study her game. The final scoreline, 6-7, 6, 6-3, 6-3, looks almost straightforward on paper. It was anything but. The first set alone could have been its own match. Eala went up 3-0, looked completely in control, then got pulled into a fourth game that dragged on for over 10 minutes. That one game gave Laura Siegemund, the crafty 38-year-old German ranked 53 in the world, just enough time to reset. Siegemund fought back and eventually took the set in a tiebreak after Eala couldn't convert 4 separate set points. 4 set points. None of them converted, and yet, here's what the numbers actually tell you. Siegemund's first serve went in at a higher rate, 74% to Eala's 69%. But when Eala got her first serve in, she won 72% of those points. Siegemund, 62%. That 10-point gap isn't a footnote. In a match that became the joint 5th longest tour-level match of the entire 2026 season, that gap meant Eala's pace off the baseline was slowly grinding Siegemund down, rally after rally, game after game. In exchanges the veteran simply couldn't sustain. Eala won 125 total points. Siegemund won 110. Over 3 hours and 20 minutes, that margin tells the story of a player who was always in control, even in the moments where she didn't look like it. But that wasn't the end of what this match revealed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
3-set win, a comeback for you. She's a tricky player. What solutions were you able to find?
I think I had to be patient. Sorry, the match was so long, I lost my voice. I think patience was key, and waiting for the right moments, yeah, patience, a lot of patience.
Second set, Eala up 2-1, getting ready to serve. And that's when Laura Siegemund walked to the back of the court. Not between points, not between games. Eala had already started her ball toss. Eala walked straight to the umpire's chair and asked the official to monitor Siegemund's timing. She was alleging a deliberate delay, a calculated move to break her rhythm at exactly the wrong moment. The umpire checked. The verdict? Eala still had 6 seconds left on the shot clock when Siegemund turned away. 6 seconds, no technical violation. Siegemund's response to the whole thing was 4 words. It's not about the time, it's about the focus. And honestly, she wasn't wrong. That's the whole point. Experienced players don't slow down to break rules. They slow down to break concentration. The move is to interrupt a younger opponent who's riding momentum right at the moment their body is already committed to the action. The umpire couldn't call a time violation because there wasn't one. What the umpire had no way to rule on was intent. Siegemund also complained about fans moving in the stands. Again, the umpire noted that fans are allowed to settle into their seats between games. No violation. On X and Reddit, the reaction was overwhelmingly negative, with fans calling it theatrical and calculated. But the more important question, the one the match quietly raised without answering, is whether Eala has now learned what to do with these moments. Because she didn't collapse. She won the next 2 sets 6-3, 6-3. And that's when the story really shifted.
Actually, Miami of last year, I was blowing up, my phone was blowing up, and I tried not to look at it a lot. And Rafa sent me a message, but I saw it like 4 days after.
He was buried
Yeah,
in your
so
DMs.
I left him undelivered for 4 days and I almost died. Don't do that, guy. But he was super nice. Yeah, he got it.
After Eala's 2025 Miami run, where she beat Jelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and Iga Swiatek before falling to Jessica Pegula in the semifinals, her phone was, in her own words, __quote _1 with thousands of notifications. Somewhere buried inside all of that was a direct message from Rafael Nadal. Alexandra Eala didn't see it for 4 full days. In a post-match interview after the Siegemund win, Eala told the story herself. She said she almost died of embarrassment when she finally realized she'd left the founder of the Rafa Nadal Academy, a man she'd trained alongside for years in Manacor, Spain, sitting on undelivered. When she finally replied, her first sentence was an apology before she even got to the thank you. That is the actual story. A 20-year-old completely overwhelmed by the scale of what she just accomplished, accidentally leaving one of the greatest athletes in the history of sport on read for 4 days. It's genuinely funny. It's also deeply human. Nadal had already shown his support publicly, posting on X after her 2025 wins over Ostapenko and Swiatek, writing things like __quote _3 and talking about how proud he was of her representing the Philippines. He'd also personally invited world number 1 Iga Swiatek to attend Eala's 2023 graduation from the academy. The relationship between Nadal and Eala is real, it's documented, and it matters. What happened to that story online is something else entirely.
What did you write back? Because Moise didn't know what to say. I told him just say thank you. I really appreciate the text, but what'd you say to Rafa?
I mean, I said, first of all, I apologized for getting back to him so late. But no, I said thank you, and I'm fortunate enough to have seen him many times, be able to see him many times. So yeah, I say thank you all the time.
The same fierce Filipino nationalism that fills arenas and floods timelines has also created a gap, and certain corners of the internet have been very deliberate about filling it. Pages operating under names like Tennis News and Tennis Plus on Facebook and Threads have been generating fabricated stories built around the Nadal-Eala connection. The most widespread one involves a supposed 5-word warning that Nadal allegedly sent to opponents who'd been rude to Eala. Another viral story claimed a player used a racial slur against Eala at the Birmingham Classic and that Nadal personally stepped in to intervene. None of it happened. There's no evidence any of those messages were sent. No evidence those incidents occurred the way they were described. The list of documented fabrications is specific. The 5-word warning gets fabricated. The Birmingham racial slur story, fabricated. A story about Eala suing a public figure for $5 million, fabricated. A story about Nadal warning a player named Linda over a trash girl comment, fabricated. Here's the thing though, and this is the part that doesn't get said enough. This disinformation isn't protecting Alexandra Eala, it's quietly undermining her. Every made-up story about Nadal riding to her defense takes a player who beat Iga Swiatek 6-2, 7-5, and reframes her as someone who needs rescuing. A player sitting on 1,525 ranking points, nearly $1.75 million in career prize money, and a career-high ranking of world number 29, the highest any Filipino has ever reached in WTA history, is being repositioned online as a figure of vulnerability. The mythology being built around Alexandra Eala is the exact opposite of who Alexandra Eala actually is. That's the real story here. There's one number that reframes the entire Siegemund match, and it's not on the scoreboard. Eala walked into the 2026 Miami Open defending 380 ranking points from her 2025 semifinal run. A loss to Siegemund in that first round wouldn't just have been a bad result, it would have dropped her roughly 22 places in the live rankings, potentially pushing her out of the top 50 altogether. By winning, Eala protected a chunk of those points and moved her live ranking to 47th. And that seeded status carries real structural value. It means she avoids the top 8 players until at least the third round of major events, Her next match in the Miami draw was against Magda Linette after Iga Swiatek, a player who had beaten Eala before, was knocked out by Linette. A favorable path, and one Eala is now positioned to use. The 2026 season has been financially significant as well. Eala reached the quarterfinals in Dubai, earning $98,500 and 215 ranking points. At Indian Wells, she made the round of 16, taking home $105,720 and 120 more points. Her guaranteed earnings for reaching the Miami Open round of 32 alone came to $61,865. Career prize money as of March 2026, approximately $1,745,329. Those aren't the numbers of a prospect. That's the financial profile of a player in professional consolidation. Has been training on clay since 2018. The Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor is built around clay court philosophy. It's literally what the facility was designed to produce. Her first WTA 1000 main draw victory came on the clay of Madrid in 2024. She won a junior Roland Garros doubles title. Her mother, Riza Maniego Eala, was a 1985 Southeast Asian Games bronze medalist in swimming. Athletic lineage that maps directly onto the physical endurance and baseline durability that the Siegemund match statistics just confirmed Eala now has at the professional level. Her coaches at the academy, Joan Bosch and Sandro Vienne, built their philosophy around what they called a 10. And after 3 hours and 20 minutes against a veteran who tried every trick available to her, that spirit is no longer just a talking point. It's on the stat sheet. The target for the rest of 2026 is a top 20 ranking. Based on where Eala sits right now, that almost certainly means a deep Grand Slam run. And the European clay season, her home surface, is the clearest opportunity she's going to get. So here's the question nobody seems to be asking. When Alexandra Eala walks out onto that clay court in Paris or Madrid or Rome, will the story still follow her as Rafael Nadal's protege, or will it finally fully belong to her? The match against Laura Siegemund suggests she already knows how to write that answer herself. Whether the rest of the world is ready to read it, that's still an open question.